The meeting is now live.
Testing,
Test.
testing.
Test. Okay. Test.
Test. Test.
I can hear you, Link.
Guess Jug just needs to call a meeting to order.
I can sing in my best 90s rap about test baby, but I think no.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. Would it be okay for me to call the meeting to order?
Yes.
Okay. I want to call the special meeting of USD 230 Board of Education to order. We will start with roll call.
Mrs. Milius?
Here.
Mr. Ewing? Mr. Ewing?
I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't get off mute.
Mrs. Sealing? Mr. Hoffman?
Present on Zoom.
Mr. Updike? Mrs. Mitchell?
Present.
Mr. Anderson?
Present on Zoom.
We have a quorum.
Okay, let's everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our next item is approval of agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Mrs. Henderson, please collect the vote.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes.
Mrs. Sealing?
Hello?
Mrs. Sealing?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Milius? Mr. Updike? Approved.
Okay, moving on to item 4.0, we have a discussion item, consideration of utilizing Elevate to deliver curriculum objectives in areas of need. Dr. Luttrell.
Yes, continuation from our meeting that we had in late July. We have continued to try and secure a certificated qualified science instructor to deliver our curriculum at Spring Hill High School. Since that time, we have had pretty in-depth discussions with two different candidates, both of which did not turn out, and it was not on our end. We were interested in both. Essentially, they both elected not to pursue coming into education like they had initially thought. We have had discussions continued with the Elevate, and again, we still feel that while it's not our preferred option, because our preferred option and first option would be a local person that we secure that is on site, that's our employee, that we still feel that this is the next best option with the options that we have available at this point. I know that it's not ideal, but again, with everything that we have in place in terms of even trying to at this point find a qualified sub locally that has certification in science that we just want to even fill in as a sub, it's just not there. And so this will provide us that opportunity. I still think it's the best bet. I know I have, and I appreciate the interest from you all because it is a big decision. It's a tough decision because it is doing something that we haven't done before. And as we all know, the education, the work landscape in general is evolving, and we've got to continue to strive to make sure that we try to stay ahead of the game. But I do know there have been some questions out there today, and I appreciate those. First one, let me try to answer in terms of whether or not this agreement would be in violation of any of our current agreements that we have with our Teachers Association. This agreement with Elevate would not infringe on that agreement. Every memorandum of understanding or negotiated agreement between a teacher association and the Board of Education between districts is totally different. Now, you might find and probably would find districts where they have negotiated something of this into the agreement that states yea or nay whether they can. At this point, our association has never gone in and negotiated this specific type agreement. We have had Ms. Hagley has had communication with our association president, Joanne, and she is very aware of it. And like we said at the onset, she knows it's not our preferred option, but at this time, it is what we feel is the best option. And so the other question I think that might have come up, is the fact that whether or not could we still maybe look at maybe finding another teacher that's on our staff that's certificated in science, and kind of cajole or move them into that position. And again, we have looked at that avenue as well. There's one individual at a middle school level, or I think it was a middle school level, that is certified, that's not certificated beyond middle school. This would be certificated for this, and they don't have, according to KSDE, they do not have, when Ms. Hackney checked, enough years of experience at the middle school level in teaching science that would qualify them to get automatic certification, for that. And then that's still going to backfill in to leave us an opening, even if we could do that. So, at the lower level. So again, it's, like I said, not the best, but I do feel it's the best one that we have at this point if we want to put a qualified, high quality teacher with our students. And Dr. Smith is here as well if you have any other specific questions about the type of delivery and the type of program that we would be receiving?
I guess at this time, if Dr. Smith, if you have any additional comments that you think would be helpful to us, and then well, I think we need to just go ahead and open it up for any questions from the board after that.
Certainly, thank you. The only additional comments I would add to Dr. Luttrell's comments regarding our efforts to secure a science teacher for this position. If we do intend to contract with Elevate, we will have a certified science teacher who is providing that instruction. They will do live virtual instruction, and there will also be a classroom coach in the room to help facilitate the learning of our students. So this will still give them the opportunity to do those hands-on labs that we think are very important for science instruction at the secondary level. We've had an opportunity to work with them on the curriculum. We feel like it does in fact align with our district curriculum and will meet our objectives for learning in our integrated science classes at the high school. And so as Dr. Luttrell said, we do think this would be our best option for making sure that our students could have high quality instruction delivered by somebody who is certified in this content area. And we are happy to take any questions that the board may have.
Hey, does anyone have any specific questions?
Can anyone hear me now?
Yes,
Oh, good.
you're welcome to take over too, Mr. Updike.
Okay, I'm happy to. Anyway, technical, I'm sure the issue is but somewhere between the keyboard and the back of the chair. But I think from what the information I reviewed, the information from our last board meeting, it sounds like this is the solution to the problem we have, right? We've started, from what I recall, you started trying to find a science teacher in October of last year. And then when you even worked through restructuring the department so that we could get more folks licensed in higher level science positions. So that allowed you to change the position description of probably open up the market a little bit for us. Those didn't work out. It sounded like there were 3, 4, 5, half a dozen different efforts on your part to make it happen. So we've had HR involved, we've had teachers involved, we've had our administration involved. The long-term subs don't exist or haven't worked out. We have 140 students, I think, right? Is that right around 140 students that need the biology, physical science education? This seems to me like be a better solution than just doing things virtually. I mean, you'll have a virtual certified licensed teacher, but also have someone in the room, coach in the room. This also allows the labs still to occur. Okay. I mean, the balance is it's expensive, right? It costs money to do this, but we've got 140 students. I think we have to keep what's best for students in mind here. And I think, I mean, I don't know what the other options is. If we don't do this, what happens?
The other option that we would have would be to try to secure an emergency.
Dr. Luttrell or Dr. Smith?
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Pardon me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So our
Yes.
other option, should we not go with Elevate, would be to try to secure an emergency substitute. If we were to secure a person, we would then file a waiver with the State Department of Education to see if we could get them waived to be in the classroom beyond what is normally just a 25-day limit in a consecutive assignment. So we would apply for that waiver so that they could be in the classroom longer than 25 days. It probably should be noted that the emergency substitute would not have that background in science. They would not be a certified teacher. So we would not expect them to have any knowledge of that content area. But the emergency substitute would be our other option if we were to not decide to go with Elevate.
But it wouldn't be a certified teacher in biology or physical science, correct? And then the other piece of this that allows us some flexibility, I think, if I recall from our last meeting, is that if we find a sub, which I know you're going to continue to look for, or for a teacher, this contract actually allows flexibility to still gain value from that agreement, correct? So you could use it for other courses or classes or educational benefit.
Yes, that is correct. The position will remain open and will continue to recruit potential candidates. And should we secure a candidate, perhaps somebody who graduates in December, then we are able to repurpose the contract and use it for other courses. And that does give us some flexibility then to consider elective classes that we don't currently offer. I noted at the July 24th board meeting, an example of that might be American Sign Language. We have a number of students who are interested in that as a world language option. So if we secured a teacher for the science classroom, we could repurpose the contract and use it for other opportunities. And some of those elective courses would certainly be something we would consider.
I just have a couple of comments. One, I do think we have to go back to what's best for kids, and with all things considered, I think this looks like it's probably what's best for kids with what we have to work with. Of course, what's best for them would be to have a live certified teacher in the classroom, but that appears that it is just not working out, and not just for us, but for a lot of schools. The only other comment I would have is that in this kind of case, I think, speaking for myself only, and maybe other board members would agree, that if we were just kind of made aware of this a little bit sooner, like the pressing nature, that maybe it wouldn't become be such a surprise to us when it comes about. So that's my only other comment and suggestion.
Other thoughts or comments or questions?
I don't have any questions so far.
I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, Nicole. We can't hear you, Allie. I can see motion and movement, but we can't hear you.
I know this affects, I think Doug said 140 kids. What would happen if we just didn't offer it this year, this section of courses?
So we're not in a position to not offer the course for two reasons. One, with 140 students, we would not have other classes to put them into throughout the day. We would be over the limits of where kids could go into the other courses, as all of our other classes are full. The other part of it is that this is a course that kids are taking as part of their graduation requirements. So we wouldn't want to take this course off of our program of study for this year, because it does jeopardize their graduation, being able to have this as one of their courses for one of their 3 science credits for graduation.
So Allie said, I'm unmuted. It says you have me muted. On your phone or on the?
Let's try that. Can you hear me?
There it is. There, yeah.
There we go. Okay, I'm sorry, Dr. Smith. Can you start graduation?
Yes, this is one of the courses. Yes, absolutely. So the students have to have 3 science credits for graduation. So this is one of those science credits that they can have as part of their graduation requirements. So to Mrs. Melius's question, we would not have other courses at the high school to put our students into, since there are 140 students impacted. So to try to dissolve the course and then simply put them in other classes, the other classes are full. So we wouldn't be able to move them into other classes. And because it is a class that they can take that goes toward their graduation requirement for that 3 credits of science, we would probably be putting some kids in jeopardy. And I think that I would be worried about what that might do to some kids who are using this as a science credit for graduation.
So correct me if I'm wrong, though, this is a sophomore level science class that we are concerned about. So it's not seniors or juniors, correct?
Correct. It is primarily sophomores that take this class.
And there's 140 kids. So I understand that the logistics of trying to find a new spot for 140 kids. And depending on the kid, they have 6 or 7 hours in a high school day. So I know that'd be about 20 kids per hour to find a different place for. But if it's a sophomore level class, I don't know that it sounds like it would impact graduation. I'm not saying that that's the road we should go down, but just want to be really clear when the public is listening to this about that. Another thing that I had a question on that you had just mentioned a minute ago, an emergency substitute, is that what happens when we have people on maternity leave?
I can't speak entirely for Mrs. Hackney, but normally when somebody goes on maternity leave, we do secure a long-term sub, and she has shared that there are long-term subs right now that are already covering maternity leaves. So they normally do secure them in advance.
So I think my point in that, though, that was kind of eye-opening to hear that when we talk about, I don't think anybody would disagree that we want to do what's best for the kids. So then the question becomes, is virtual education best for the kids? And then I know one question that's been asked and that I've pondered quite a bit is, how are the parents going to react to this? And would the parents be okay with a long-term non-certified sub? Well, I think the answer to that is we have that commonly with people in maternity leave. So it's not an uncommon thing to have a long in the district that have a baby, or so it's not something that is completely out of the norm. I think the parents would understand that. But my other questions is, I think that it's going to be really important when we're talking about the parents. As we know, they might, people are busy. They're not listening into every one of our board meetings. They don't know yet. I would venture to say the vast majority of parents don't even realize we're talking about this yet. And school starts in less than 2 weeks. And when we communicate this out to parents, I think that there is going to be a lot of question about what all did we do to make sure that we secured and we tried. And, transparency and visibility in that, I think, is going to be really important to tell them, because right now, all that they know and all they've seen is that there hasn't been anything posted like on any kind of social media since June 14th. They could have been maybe helping share this message. I feel the frustration coming our way already with lack of communication. And so I kind of want to back Sharon in that and say that had we had our other July meeting, or maybe if we would have known this sooner, we could have been talking more to the parents about it too. I have concern that parents, and I'll say this until I'm blue in the face, parents know what's best for their kids. And if they wanted their kids in virtual school, we have a fantastic program for that, Insight, and they would pick that. So I do think that we're going to hear a lot of pushback. So on my question list also, though, is I noticed in Dr. Luttrell's email to us today, I'm curious, have we looked at the idea? What is praxis? That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. Is that a special certification for a scientist? Like if somebody's a scientist, so that they then apply for a praxis certification and teach the class? Is that what that is?
The praxis is an exam that teachers take to certify in their content area. So after completing a collegiate teacher preparation course, they would then, after getting their degree, take their content area praxis. I would think it would be really similar to like a person seeking a law degree who then goes and takes the LSAT to pass the bar. So the praxis is kind of like our bar exam in education.
So have we done that? Have we reached out to local scientists and people to see if they would, have we put that message? I haven't seen anything publicly out there really looking for scientist or somebody that would be very specialized actually in that field. Has that been, maybe I just haven't seen it.
I know that the HR office, Mr. Williams, all of our principals, when we have an opening, especially in a hard to fill area, we will throw out every opportunity, every option that we can when we come into contact with an individual. And we have put the word out with just through our through a lot that we, just like many districts, we have to be willing to accept individuals and work with individuals. So do the higher ed institutions with individuals that don't have the credentials, that want to come in and work towards getting certification. And we have, like I said, most of the individuals, especially in science and math that are even out there in applicant pools, have some form of alternative certification program that they're going through. The praxis is another one that works a lot of different ways. If you have a person that wants to come into education, that wants to have a specialty in science, after they get their coursework in or whatever their plan has been that they have to complete again, and then they take the exam. You can also have an individual that may already have taken a praxis and be certified, let's say in language arts, and then may have gotten out of education, or may hey, I want to make a transition. I want to start teaching social studies. If they already have a certification in one subject matter, they can study, and if they pass the praxis in that content area, they can become certified in that area. So, and we do allow that. We do encourage that if we find it. It's just that, again, it's not that, first off, the tests aren't easy. A lot of individuals just choose not to go that route, but we definitely are willing and have worked with individuals like that and with those in the past. And anymore, especially in this day and age, whenever it's almost a given that we are open to all avenues that we can, that are within our disposal whenever we're talking to candidates that express interest in one of our positions.
So another one of my questions is, well, let me back up. I think that's going to be important, because as parents do find out about this, we might be hearing from them that they didn't realize, and maybe they could have connected with somebody who's a scientist or that kind of thing. And this is a very pricey, and the precedent set for roughly $140,000 for this classroom when you combine the 108 with how much it would be for a coach. I don't know exactly what we're paying for that. But my concern is the precedent set with that too. So my next question is about contracting, and do we have any concern with the contracts we've signed, with our negotiated contracts? And I do want to tell you why I am asking that. That someone apparently had listened to our board meeting and understood and reached out to Superintendent Yeager in Olathe, and then they sent me a copy of an email back from him that said, absolutely not, this would be a clear violation of negotiated agreement. So has Greg Goheen signed off on this? Do we know that this is okay with him?
Yes, as I said beginning, every negotiated agreement between a school district and their specific association are completely different. I mean, you're never going to find two that are uniform. It's basically what they've negotiated to put in. So yes, you will find a school district that they may be in their negotiated agreement. We will not stand for, and we will not have an outside contracted group or whatever performing instruction. Okay. We do not have that in our agreement. I uploaded the master agreement as one of the attachments. It's also in the notes there. You can access. We have been in communication with the leadership of the association, Joanne Whitman, and she confirmed, no, it's not an infringement. And she, like us, realizes also it's not our ideal situation, but she feels that with the options that we have available, it is the best option. So from our local association, speaking for ours, it is not an infringement at this time.
Okay, I just wanted to, it was alarming to me. I know every district has a different
Yes.
contract. So I just wanted to be sure that Greg had signed off on that too, and we'd asked him about it. I mean, it's my opinion that this isn't the best option for the kids to have virtual school with a coach. Of course, an in-person teacher is best. I think we need to look at the reasons why teachers are not being or leaving the profession, and that's a much bigger conversation, but we're asking them to do a lot now. And so I think that's actually the crux of all of this. But the last question that I have, I think, I'm going through my list here. So this isn't, I kind of feel like we're hearing two things. This isn't a plan for a long-term for many subjects. Like, this is for our science class because we have a need in this situation. However, it opens up the door to see if it might be an option for other classes. We might use it for others. So I kind of feel like that's saying it both ways. And I want to be real clear with the parents that we're not trying to change the trajectory of public education to virtual education, that we're talking about this for specifically this 1 year, this one science class. Is that correct?
For the situation, yes, for the situation that we're currently find ourselves in, this is the only reason that we are considering this particular platform. We do not want and would not want to start seeding all of our large portion of our courses that we can offer to an outside source, okay? A live person in the classroom in front that is our employee is best. That being said, though, as we said, I mean, unfortunately, even though that's not in the cards and we don't want to go that direction, okay, we have to continue to be open, and that might be something that we might have to look to again at some point in the future. We get in a similar situation, or we find that there is a course out there that our kids could really, really benefit from, that there's a demand for, and we do not have or cannot locate a person to do that. We might go this direction, but no, I would not be in favor of trying to make this something that we want to try to delve into more and more, especially when it comes to courses that are general graduation requirements that are part of the general graduation requirements.
Okay, thank you. I mean, so it does sound like we do potentially have another option if we did a long-term sub, look for somebody who is graduating at semester. There are potentially other options, but we're trying to avoid those other options the best that we can and get a certified teacher. And I understand that, but there are, I just want to be sure we are clear that there is another option, but it isn't, neither of the options, in my opinion, are what's best for the kids.
Any other comments or questions? Nels or Brent or Keith?
It sounds like the best option we've got at the present time, and I'm good with it.
Same here. And sensitivity are kind of what I've been hearing too, is we kind of got to do what we got to do this year, but let's not have an easy button we push going forward that we do outside all the time. So
yeah, I agree. I don't think I've ever heard even a glimmer of that being the intention, honestly.
Agreed.
I think Michelle and Aaron, Dr. Smith, our entire HR group, I think they worked very, very hard to prevent this kind of thing. This seems like the best option for the kind of situation that we have. Does anyone know how many people are graduating? I mean, we've brought up this graduate at semester idea a time or two, but does anyone have any insight as to who and how many folks are graduating from local universities with a science background education?
President Updike, I would have to check on our numbers from
Mhm.
this past school year, but we did receive an update from KSDE in the 21-22 school year that there would be fewer than 10 candidates graduating from universities within the state of Kansas that would be qualified for secondary science. So that number has continued to decline over the years in terms of the number of candidates that have been available from our area universities.
All right. Well, this is Nicole, did you have any other questions? I don't remember if I know you had comment, but okay. This is an action item. If there are no other questions or comments, we'll be need to
Mr. President, I move that we recommend approval of the contract with Elevate K-12 to provide science instruction for students at Spring Hill High School during the 2023-2024 school year. With one editorial note on the contract, the spelling of the school name, it says Spring Hills School, and I'd already talked to Dr. Smith about getting that updated on it. So it says Spring Hill School and Spring Hill School District.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve the contract with Elevate Elevate K-12 to provide science instruction for students at Spring Hill High School during the 2023-2024 school year. Any other comments or questions? Rachel, please collect the vote.
Mrs. Sealing,
No.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Updike,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Milius,
Yes.
Mr. Ewing,
Yes.
approved.
Very good. Thank you very much for joining in on our special meeting today. I appreciate everyone's time. Nicole, I know you're parked, or I would have said something about driving, so I appreciate you making safety first there. Appreciate you joining in from there. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend and enjoy.